One of the reasons for this video series is for me to take the time to demonstrate a complete drawing using the most significant processes we learn in Drawing 1 and to show how all of these ideas fit together, rather than illustrate them in isolation and then see our students make an illustration of an illustration. None of these methodologies are a simple drawing solution. They're drawing problems, or more specifically, they're a way of introducing new problems into the work. So to approach the concept of planar analysis, you're going to see a culmination of this geometric base, this premise that form arises from geometry here in the first chapter. You'll see here how summary form and straight line construction is further elaborated on in this drawing as we go forward. And what you have to give new emphasis to is not so much the plane building, but the planar analysis. You have to see where the planes turn inside a more complex form and expand your range of variety to respond to that. To do so, you will need the following. Number one, a situation from which you can strongly perceive form. That means being close enough to the source to experience it in whole and in parts, and in a lighting that reveals the form to your advantage. This situation revealing a form also means that you need to be using a subject that has a complex enough form for planar analysis to be effective. So if you have an object that is overly symmetrical, or for instance, you have a round ball, planar analysis becomes less meaningful because the source does not read as planes. It doesn't necessarily have that as a primary element of its character. Or for instance, if you're not looking at something at an angle, but instead looking at it frontally, then again, planar analysis becomes harder to recognize because you can't read the form so well if you're not viewing it along an angle. And number two, you'll need all of the tools that you've used to date to address the page turned around and compressed inside the form. Grid tool, angle tool, line extension, open form, line variation, summary form, notation, etc., etc. If the planes that you develop inside the form are not varied, if instead you use the same line weight, same line quality throughout, or you close each and every plane, or you make no comparative adjustments within, around, and outside of the form, then you will have drawn cartoon robots. Don't bother turning that one in. You'll see at this stage, I have differentiated the degree of detail in each of the three main forms. The cloth, most rudimentary and open, the squirrel nearly as generalized, and the head having more information developed. All are open forms, and the nose of the head is most emphasized as it reaches a closer point to my field of vision and plays a kind of fulcrum in the design at this stage. Skipping ahead to 45 minutes in, you'll now see more contour lines, but also much more line variation and a maintaining of an open form in places. Equal, even contours will flatten the form no matter what you do inside of the form. This course is process and concept oriented rather than based in subject, so we're not going to learn figure drawing or landscape drawing from one week to the next. But you're asked to think about how these different methodologies are productive for or informed by different situations. And here, planar analysis is critical to recognition of complex, unique forms. So it's highly useful and perhaps essential to drawing from life. As the drawing proceeds to the 1 hour mark here and then ends around 90 minutes, I'll tell you a couple of things to look for. First, we'll zoom in on the taxidermy squirrel, and you'll see that it is constructed from larger planes overall, its tail and body made more blocky. But it also is given planar development in the head and upper body that are made mainly of hatching in a much more kind of intricate overlapping pattern of planes. And that starts to have a softening effect perhaps. Look for ways that there is differentiation within and among the volumes, and then look for ways that there's continuity between them and between the objects and the space. And also look for the varying degrees of detail, again, throughout the drawing and from one form to the next and within them. Also be paying attention to how there is movement between working on the parts, the individual objects and groupings, and then working on the larger composition. In particular, you'll see some moves at the end in the last minute of the video to give the work greater continuity and weaving together groupings of the visual elements. Just look.